Oh, and we are live. Oh, good morning, everyone. Although, as usual, there's no one in just yet, as always. I'm going to keep my powder dry and say, oh, I had a bit too much grog last night. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to a good morning work. I'm sounding pretty Cornish now. But, pirates were probably Cornish at the time, so. Arr. Good morning, because it's International Talk Like a Pirate Day. Uh, so. Yo ho and ahoy, my friends. We'll get the fun out of the way first. Well, I say fun. We woke up, of course. I woke up this morning, so say to the unfortunate news. For those of you who may yourself be waking up to the news that Ruth Gator Ginsburg, RGB herself, unfortunately has died, which essentially means that in America right now, there is a open position on the US Supreme Court, and we've talked about this numerous times. Wind back the clocks to when it was Obama's last term, and I can't remember the name of the justice that died at the time, but he was replaced by Robert Kavanaugh, I think his name was. I think his first name was, but I think his name was Kavanaugh. And it represents what is and what will be, unfortunately, an incredibly interesting time and a fantastic opportunity for the conservative hard right wing to essentially take control of probably what is one of the most important institutions in America, and that is the US Supreme Court. We cannot, understate just how important losing a liberal majority is on the US Supreme Court. It will be absolutely terrible, but this is something that I've certainly warned of for a while. Unfortunately, one of the big problems that I always said was going to happen was we knew that her days were numbered, unfortunately, and we'd been saying this throughout all the Trump presidency, and thank God that she lasted as long as she did. She's done essentially the liberal cause and the progressive causes in America an incredible world of good for lasting as long as she did. Oh, good morning there. Good morning, welcome. If you've just joined us, we are talking about, obviously, I woke up to the news, unfortunately, this morning that Ruth Gator Ginsburg, I always get a second name last name confused there. One of the liberal progressives, I suppose you could call her, on the US Supreme Court has unfortunately died this morning. And I've been warning about this well over, not only just the past couple of years when we've talked about American politics on this channel, but how important it really is that there needs to be some sort of progressive judges, and especially liberal judges, on the Supreme Court. Because we've got an interesting situation now that arises, because Trump... Oh, good morning there to Flash Mode from Italy. We've got a bizarre situation now where... Oh, someone from Spain joining us there. Good morning. Like I say, if you're just joining us, just go over it again. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the American Supreme Court Justice, has died, which essentially leaves open a Supreme Court Justice seat, which will be and can be fulfilled by Trump. Now, if you roll back to the last American election, when it was Trump versus Clinton, this was one of the key things that motivated the Republicans to get out there and vote. Yes, don't worry, we will be talking about Boris. However, I think I think we need to talk about this, because this is quite substantial big news. And if you're a liberal in America and you're worried about Trump and it is possible fascism on the rise, then this is quite big news, and worrying news, because, like I say, Biden was immediately got out in front of this and said that Trump should not replace her, and that this, because the election was obviously so close, that it needs to be left until whoever comes in to essentially wait to replace her. So Trump has every power to be able to do so, but interestingly enough, again, wind back those clocks to that the Trump Hillary election. The Republicans were very, very adamant that Obama not that do the same thing as what Biden said, and that must be left for whoever's the next president to do the replacing. But given what Trump is like, given what his views and whatnot, Trump could, if he wanted to, and the Republicans would back him in this, because the Republicans aren't too bothered, because this is a massive Republican opportunity to seize a majority on the US Supreme Court. And this is absolutely, it's absolutely terrifying, because the first thing is first, if that happens, and Trump does that, the first thing that happens is that the religious right wing in America will go straight for Roe v. Wade. And Roe v. Wade is the only thing in America that is keeping abortions and, women's rights to access abortions in America open and legal. They will very quickly move to get rid of that. And with a majority on the US Supreme Court, it's very likely they could do it. Very, very likely they could do it. What's even more worrying is that if Trump does get a second term, because we saw how motivated his base was and how motivated the Republicans were because there was an open Supreme Court justice seat, this now throws the election, especially the US election, into a whole new ball game. Because for the Republicans, up for grabs is having a controlling majority on the US Supreme Court. This to them is absolutely huge, and there is no way whatsoever are they going to try and pass up that opportunity to seize for a majority on the US Supreme Court. No way in hell are they going to give that opportunity up. So this election has just changed completely. Not only that, we also really worried about, because I obviously make this case as well, that anyone, I don't understand how. Obviously, you've heard of the Bernie or Bust movement, which basically says it was Democrats and progressives who were like, we're never going to vote for anyone at the election but Biden. Not Biden, Bernie, sorry. Oh, hang on. We've encountered some traffic on the roads. Oh, careful there. Oh. Well, that's just changed my route. But we've got some, like I say, it's just completely changed the game of that American election. And it should be absolute. If you're a progressive in America and you were a Bernie or Buster, then there is absolutely no excuse for you now to hold that position. You must now, as an obligation, because you could lose and see huge progressive wins in the future, basically stripped away from you by a Republican-controlled, conservative majority Supreme Court. That is huge. And that's why I keep on saying, and I've said it before, we've covered this topic before, not only on these walks, but in other videos when we, just covered American politics. That's why it's so huge. We are, it's so worrying, especially for them. It's going to be even more worrying, and my way has been blocked by these guys. So thumbs up for the ponies for blocking my way. Yeah, so we're gonna have to go an alternative route now. So if you'll excuse me, so this is where it gets quite fun. So it is, not to, reiterate the point, but it's completely changed the game in America and how those elections are now potentially going to play out. There was always this, I suppose you'd call it a rumor, that Republicans wouldn't they wouldn't come out and support Trump, because a lot of Republicans have changed their minds on Trump and don't think he would be that good, and see that, that would be interesting for them. But that has completely changed the game in America for this election. So you'll have to excuse me now. I've got to try and now get over this fence. So, sit easy. Oh, there we go. Oh. This will not work without two hands. I wonder, can we? I am stuck on a fence. Oop. Get my second leg over. There we are. Oh, there we go. Yes! Ha! We've done it. But yeah, this changes the game for the US elections completely. Well and truly completely. It's you need to get out there and vote if you're in America. You need to motivate everyone else, if you're an American, essentially, to get out there because, quite frankly, the Republicans aren't going to pass this opportunity up to get a majority on the US Supreme Court. It's going to be absolutely... It's so worrying, especially if you were in, if you're an American progressive or liberal. But all I can say is I really hope Trump doesn't win. I really, really hope he doesn't win, because that opens up America and progressive and leftist causes to a whole new world of hurt. You could be looking at a very progressively called Supreme Court. So I don't know what else I can say, but rest in peace, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You did such a good job hanging on for so long. We've got more ponies on the path. Why, guys? Why? Although they're moving along now. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh me. That's what. As if by magic, ponies appeared. Well, at least they're walking past. And not stampeding past, which is what I'm most worried about on this path. So let's see if we can get past these boys here, because this could be quite interesting, because unfortunately it seems like they're quite startled. Hey guys, morning, are you gonna let me through? I'm gonna just gently does it, there we go, gently does it, gently does it, gently does it. Hey, there we go, there we go. There we go. Slowly but surely we're going to get past these guys, because I'm super worried about startling them, especially on this thin path, because I am going to get trampled if one of these guys decides to start. Morning. You can tell I'm slightly worried about these guys, because I don't know what's happened recently, but these guys are a complete mess. I don't know what's happened to them. Oh, come on! I need to get me past. Don't walk that way. I know you want to eat, but I need to get past you. I know. Come on. He's eating. Can I get past you? I'm just gonna nip underneath you. Ah. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna walk past you, honey. Morning, don't worry. I'm just gonna walk past you, that's all. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's it. So, sorry for lack of commentary at the moment, but I'm just very, very worried about these guys. So I don't know what it is about this herd that's... oh, last one here. Can you let me through? Can you let me through? I'm gonna have to nip under. You alright? There you go. There you go. There you go. I generally don't know, actually, per bird. They are probably, I think they are someone's, but I don't know. Oh Christ, they're following me now. I'm just really worried if they start to stampede, because I've got nowhere to hide or run if they decide to run on this path. And it's I don't know how the hell they've ended up like this, to be honest, but it's really I'm very, very nervous at the moment. Because oh great, we've got one here and a mother, foal and a mother. Come on, just let me through. That's right. That's it. Good girl. Good girl. I'm just gonna weave past you. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oof. That's yeah. That's quite worrying. That's it's probably the most worried I've ever been about passing them in the past. But yeah. Ooh, we're at least safe for the moment. Yeah, I'd like to nominate myself for the most pony conscious YouTuber there is. But anyway, yeah, good morning everyone who's joined us. Sorry for the brief pony interlude there, but like I say, I don't know what's happened to that herd for some reason, and I don't know if they are like wild ponies, but they just seem to have just been left in this field. And to be honest, I don't know if you saw, they're a complete mess. I don't know where they've been to do it, but they've got like spines or spindles stuck in their manes, and they're all very grubby. So it's really weird that they're like that, but worryingly they have been, especially recently, that herd has become very skittish, and I think that's because there might have been a group of teenagers unfortunately coming around and making them a bit more panicky, which is why I was so worried about them stampeding there, because they do have a habit of stampeding, and like I say, on that path, if they decide to go one way and I'm walking that direction, I've got no option but to either run or try and force myself into a very, very prickly hedge. So there was that. Now, the news you're all here for. So we covered the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. For those of us joining us, she's died, unfortunately. If you want to rewatch that, go back and watch it. But big news, of course, obviously this week is the what I suppose we'll call the Internal Market Bill. Yeah, what is the Internal Market Bill, or the UK Internal Market Bill, as it's called. And it's passed its first reading, which is, to be honest, very disappointing, but I suspected that might happen. Not enough Conservative rebels rebelled, shall we say, but even more worryingly was that there were a couple of Conservatives out there who, rather than vote against the they decided to abstain. So as far as I'm concerned, the Conservatives who voted against it, good on you for voting against it. You did the right thing. But to the ones that abstained on this, you might as well have just voted for the bill, because your abstention meant nothing. And like I say, there clearly weren't. There just wasn't enough oomph to pass it through. Now, of course, this goes now to the committee stage, where we're going to see amendments added to the bill. And so far, the only one we've seen added is what has been dubbed the big compromise. Although I can't see why it's such a compromise, because it still leaves the UK in a position with a majority of vote leave Conservatives who have shown that they are willing to essentially break international law. And this leaves us in a it's an incredibly worrying state for us to be in. I think the amendment passed. I can't remember the exact phrasing of how the amendment was phrased, but essentially all it does is it gives Parliament the vote onto whether or not to break international law. And we are seeing at the moment there are a lot of these Conservatives that got in last time. Pretty much all the moderate Conservatives have been swept away in Boris's Great Purge. And now there's shall we say, very few grown-ups left, actually now in the Conservative Party. And we're trying to... The justification for all this is complete nonsense, because the thing that they're worried about, and the reason why they're doing this, is because they're worried about the withdrawal agreement being like a permanent fixture, essentially, and that the border down the Irish Sea is going to separate the Republic of Ireland, not the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, from the UK. And that's why they're doing it. So they're trying to pass this bill, even though a key fixture of the withdrawal agreement was to protect the fact and try and preserve peace on Ireland. And this was originally proposed by our government. So make no mistake that this wasn't a European Union idea. This idea itself, in the withdrawal agreement, is fully a British idea. And it's funny now because they're trying to cast it as a European idea, and it couldn't even be further from the truth. But it's complete insanity, really is. And you saw Dominic Raab this week fly off to America, because obviously one of the big things, the big selling point about Brexit was that we were going to do this deal with America, and it was going to be absolutely fantastic. That this was why we're doing Brexit. We're going to do this deal with America. It's going to be the bee's knees, and somehow it's going to make up for losing all our trading relations we have with the European Union. We're going to accept American standards, but we're going to have no say or control over it. There are probably going to be a court system in place which is going to fine our government should it pass any regulations that American businesses are losing money because of regulations, then they will fine our government. Morning. So instantly, the idea that the Brexiteers care about sovereignty or making our own laws, or they were against all these rules imposed by Brussels, it just goes out the window. Because in an American trade deal, we would have to accept American standards, and part of that trade deal would be a court that would fine our government for imposing any regulations or legislation that may harm the finances of that company. So let's say, for example, we passed an animal welfare bill, which meant that animals had to be kept to a certain standard. The American meat industry, the poultry industry, whatever you name it, would immediately head to that court system and just start suing our government for these laws. And by the way, this is not a one-time thing. It's almost continuous. So as long as those laws and regulations are in place, it's not just a one-time payment. The UK would end up subsidising the US meat and poultry industry to a point where if the Conservatives were going to pass subsidies for our industries, the American industry could sue because they'd be losing out on money. And you wonder why farmers haven't got those subsidies back yet. We're in we are up a creek without a paddle at the moment. And it's incredibly worrying for us, especially in the UK, because those industries, they didn't all overwhelmingly vote for Brexit, as some people, seem to think. It was pretty much a 50-50 split. The farmers were, like pretty much every other population except for middle-class Conservatives, voted 50-50. So this idea that they deserve it, it shouldn't be the defining factor of what we do. This is why one of the things that I would definitely say to get involved with is the Save British Farming campaign. Because also this week, if you may have been watching Parliament, you may have seen lots of MPs have like wheat on there in the lapels and stuff like that. That's because they were, quote, supporting British farming, even though Boris Johnson was wearing it, and he absolutely is not going to support British farming. But back to America, because we passed the first round of this internal market bill, Joe Biden immediately came out and said, if you pass this, we are not going to do a trade deal with you, full stop. So immediately, obviously that's why Rab was in America, to try and ease tensions and say, oh no, this is going to protect um, you know, the Northern Ireland peace process and the Good Friday Agreement. It's going to protect it. We'll be fine. Of course, no one in America is convinced by that. This is one of the things that has definitely emerged. The UK has now lost the quote special relationship we have with America, and that now everyone realizes that actually that special relationship is more with Ireland than with the UK, because if the Leo Varadkar, the Irish Prime Minister, goes and says this is breaking the Northern Ireland peace process, this is breaking all the rules, it's international law, yada yada, the Americans will immediately turn around, and not only that, they will probably sanction us as well. This isn't good by any stretch of the imagination of what is about to happen, especially in that arena. And here's the thing: that Europe and the EU is also going to be on that as well. So Boris he's really got two choices, because this bill is either going to have to be completely withdrawn, or during this amendment stage, it's going to get so watered down, the initial intention isn't even going to matter. And it is going to be a massive come down for Johnson, because I think this whole bill is being used by Johnson as a negotiating stick. I think this is what it is. I think this is the whole original plan for it. I don't think that this has worked out like how I think Boris and the Leave cohorts that he's got worked out how I thought it was going to be. I think they thought that the US was somehow going to support them. But interestingly enough as well, the Republicans also came out with a statement saying that they wouldn't trade deal with for us. Now, it wasn't even an endorsement of the bill, but it wasn't even a condemnation either. But the Republicans know, as we've said before, that there is a very strong Irish lobby that exists in America, that they know if they are seen to be going against that lobby, they're going to lose votes, they're going to lose money. There's a possibility of losing seats. So they have come out with, again, not even a statement that endorsed Boris and his cronies to do this, but that's where we are essentially. The adults essentially in the room, or in the world, shall we say, had to step in. And of course, the Lords are still sticking to their guns, that if the bill comes to them, they're going to vote it down. And I think that it has more chance of being voted down in the Lords than it does being voted through again in the House of Parliament, because I even think with this amendment, I still don't see how with that bill and that just amendment, how that somehow clears up the rule breaking. It doesn't at all. It just It just basically means that if the British Parliament wants to, it can still vote to break international law. And that's essentially where we are on the Brexit front yet again. Britain has essentially made a series of strategical, blundering, incompetent, call it what you will, diplomatic moves that has been, if you've been reading some of the international press, they're calling it the dumbest move Britain ever made, or the dumbest political miscalculation Britain has made since Suez. So that's how the rest of the world is really viewing it. And it is incredibly worrying. It really is. I don't know how Boris thinks he's going to get out of it. I don't know where he thinks he's going to do. But we did a video just this week about who Boris is going to betray next. Because when we went through the article, it was completely right. Boris has gotten himself into a position where no matter what he does, he has to betray someone. Even if that means betraying himself, that will result in some form of rebellion. So hang on, we'll go through some of your comments now. So, UK will become the new Africa. Not really. Oh. So I very much doubt that. Very much doubt that. But we'll have to see. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, Hillary Benn forced Johnson to downgrade the EU threat to a suspicion. But actually, that's another thing that we need to talk about. This has actually broken a lot of trust we had, because in negotiations, there has to be a level of trust between two of the partners, and the fact that we've done this has broken any level of trust with the EU. So that essentially now the EU doesn't trust us. So this whole thing that they've been trying to punish us for, quote, leaving the EU. The EU have been very clear about what their red lines are, and very clear about what they were going to do from day one. And it's been the UK that has tried to insist that the UK should have some sort of privileged special access to the single market without having to sign up to any of the responsibilities that entails. And you've only got to look at the Japan deal. The Japan deal that we've just done is absolutely ridiculous, because one of the sticking points at the moment with the EU is the whole the level playing field agreement, the agreement on state aid rules. The agreement we've just signed up with Japan signs us up to stricter trade rules, state aid rules, than the one that the EU is currently suggesting. Oh, so Miss Nomad there. Why should the EU trust the UK after 4 years of the UK calling the EU everything, including a criminal mob enterprise? Surprisingly, they were very, very cordial with us until now, recently. This move is really the one that's broken the camel's back. It really has. It really has. And the fact that this has been the continuing theme of what the British negotiators have put forward, that Britain should have essential continuing full market access to the EU single market without having to do any of the responsibilities that any other country has done. And it's absolutely insane. It really, really is. Oh yeah, and the other thing about the Japanese trade deal gets even better is what this deal does is the EU has quotas of like how much stuff can go to who and what where. So when we're exporting to Japan, all these products, services, whatever you name it, we are going to be using essentially what is left over from the EU quota. So essentially, some years, if you're exporting to Japan, you might be paying a lower tariff. Other years, you might be paying the full tariff. And this is it. The more we learn about this deal, the worse it becomes. It is nowhere near at all the single level of access, the same one that the EU and Japan have signed. It is nowhere near as good. Nowhere near. It's absolutely insane. There you go. That's essentially global Britain, or a UK company, essentially priced out of the market, because there is no way a Japanese company is going to import stuff from the UK knowing full well that all of a sudden the prices that they may have to pay are completely variable. No one's going to do that. But there you go. Yeah, it this full thing just continues to, to completely, bizarre and befuddle the world. But we've already, you may remember again a couple of weeks ago, we covered this exact thing from the Japanese Times, who said, yeah, we don't understand why you're doing Brexit, because you're never going to get as good a deal from us as you seem to be expecting. And the Japanese have delivered exactly that. It is not as good a deal as we had when we were in the EU and the single market. Full stop. And that's essentially where we are. So Brexit Britain is off to a complete flying crash already. And here we are now, trying to, still failing to negotiate with the EU, because we are failing to see that once again, that the EU is a combination of 27 countries combining their economic strength, and this whole idea that we were somehow better off without them, or that they needed us more than them. Yeah, once again, completely blown out of the water. Oh, Someone there again, Miss Nomad. Don't worry if the Orange traitor manages to win in November. America will die right alongside the UK. Self-inflicted. Yeah. It's just the potential damage that he's going to do. That's the essential power that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and we covered right that at the start of the stream. I don't know what Trump's statement has been on that. I don't know if he intends to move forward and try and quickly rush through a Supreme Court justice. I generally don't know. But yeah, dude's right there. Meanwhile, China will take over the world, while the EU, with the EU support, if they get their human rights issues sorted out. True. Very, very true indeed. Because China is an absolute economic monster of a powerhouse. And it is still not, shall we say, finished getting started. In fact, this is one of the interesting things, actually. One of the continuing arguments that the rest of the world has had with China is over copyright stuff. So, for example, originally when brands like Burberry and whatnot went over to try and trade in China, they were finding that there were knockoffs of their brand being made. Of course, China did not want to sign up to these types of agreements. However, what has happened over these years since then is that China is increasingly getting a more and more affluent middle class. And a lot of people do not factor this in, because China is no longer a complete, communist country. It's becoming quite it is no longer communist, essentially, anymore, despite the fact that the Communist Party is in charge. And because of this rise in the middle class, they've been wanting to use their purchasing power to go out and buy products. And not only have they started to buy Western products, but you've had this middle class who have used their purchasing power and their new wealth to go and start their own businesses. So China now has its own brands like Burberry and so forth that are now finding that they want to go out to America, that they want to start trading in all these other Western countries because they see that there's a market there and they want to get into that market. The problem comes is that they've realized, all those copyright laws and things that the government was so against, purely because they saw it as a really capitalist move. Yeah, they are now pushing, of all things, for more. They are now pushing to get their own copyright laws and for China to adopt international copyright laws, which a couple of years ago was never a thing. So this whole idea that China isn't changing and that it isn't morphing into something, China is changing, and sooner or later it is this middle class that will say, we want a say in what happens in our country. So make no mistake, sooner or later democracy will end up in China. It's just a matter of time, and when those that movement comes, it's a matter that we, as Western liberals and Western supporters of democracy, support those movements when it happens. Because will it be peaceful? Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. Yeah, it's pronounced China, says Trump. So, you know, for all this, anti-China talk, and I don't disagree. I do agree that there are a lot of problems going on in China, but don't let that overshadow a lot of the stuff that is going on that is never often brought up, because you often hear more about the bad than the good, and I understand that. That is very true, and it is important that the bad stuff is brought up and highlighted, but we don't bring up the good stuff about what's going on in China. Like, there is an increasing middle class. Like, this class will eventually make a push for democracy. The fact that you've got, the middle class and these companies started by that are now pushing for China to adopt international copyright law, because they are starting to trade their products more internationally. So they want international copyright law. And I've covered this before. There is this idea by a lot of, especially like conservatives, that somehow you can put China back in its box. You absolutely can't. You cannot put China back in its box. China is here to stay. It ain't going anywhere. It's the exact same talking points that a lot of the Brexiteers use when they talk about, oh, the EU's going to die in a couple of years. But they've been saying that every year on the clock for years. And we need to encourage the good stuff in China while at the same time calling out the bad. I am not 100% pro-China. I want to get that across. But here we are. As always. But again, you don't know what will happen in the future. For all we know, in 10 years' time, China could end up being a democracy. You never say never to these types of things. You generally don't know. So, I've always I've just had a warning that I've pretty much used up all my data, which has been really annoying. I do apologise for that, because in the background I've had my WhatsApp's been going off like crazy. It's been downloading videos, so I can blame my friends on WhatsApp. I think someone in my family sent a video, so. Oh, this is a good question. If Boris quits, who's in your money to take over? That is really a hard question. That is really a hard question. Oh, wow. I just had a super chat in from Super Daddy 96. Oh, sorry, 69. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for trying to. There we go. Thanks for trying to. Hang on. Note to self: I can't walk and talk at the same time. Thanks for trying to inform your countrymen on facts of the world. Here's for a cup of coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you for supporting me. I will definitely go and buy a cup of coffee with that. Thank you very much for that. But anyway, back to that original question: who's going to replace Boris if he goes? Generally, I don't know. It's really a hard question. To be honest, I really think it is going to be a 50-50 on Michael Gove, or it's going to be Rishi Sunak. Because Gove wants the job. There is no doubt in my mind that Michael Gove wants that job. I think it's something that, again, he's been gunning for a long time. That everyone said that when he joined the Leave side, it was a whole part of his thing to essentially make him stand out and ready for leadership. He has been a consistent cabinet member in the party pretty much since the coalition government. He's pretty much been in there since the beginning. So I definitely think that if you want to pick someone, and bear in mind, this is now a Leave majority Conservative government. The crazies have taken over the Nut House. He is going to have that support. So I think that he is definitely, if you were going to put money on it, he's definitely someone you'd put money on to do it. The other one is Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor. And it's not unusual. It is not unusual, as we have been seeing, for sitting prime ministers to see the Chancellor of the Exchequer take over after they've left. We have a very bizarre thing in the UK where even though we have like a deputy prime minister, they're not the ones who are seen to take over, if you get what I mean. The ones who are sort of seen to take over are very often the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Even though we do have that deputy, that deputy prime ministerial position, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the ones to take over. And we do have a history in the UK of chancellors taking over, and Sunak has won a lot of friends by obviously promoting the furlough system, which won him a lot of support. However, that furlough system is set to end next month, and lots of businesses are still relying on this system. Now, when you look at other countries who brought in a furlough system, they were 12 to some were 24 months. Ours was only 8. And we are looking at a second wave. We are probably right at the beginning of where this second wave is about to hit. Kids have gone back to school. They've been the ones who have been helping spread the coronavirus even more. You've got university students. One of the rumours is that Boris wants to get these university students off and out to uni, and then he can lock down, because otherwise that would create a whole another education mess. So that's the rumour. Of course, they're due to start. I think it's next week or it's the week after. Some have already started, but the idea is to get these new uni students out of their parents' home down into uni, where of course they're going to spread coronavirus even more. And this is just going to go from it's just going to go from bad to worse. And if you look at the numbers, we're already seeing a massive spike. And as always with viruses and these things like these, they have hugely overshadow the first wave. And that's what's worrying. We are going to go right into a second wave, and things are going to get even much more worse. And it's hard to say, but if you're going to pick Boris's successor, those are the two. But it's hard to pick between the two, to be honest. If it were to happen tomorrow, I'd say it would be a fight again between those two. But I think Rishi might just edge it against Grove, because I think the Conservatives would see a big boost for from him and Sunak. But of course Sunak is about to be everyone's least favourite person, because he's got an October budget coming up, and I hope you're ready for more austerity, because we told you it was going to happen. These people and the Tories that are in power are all essentially they want low tax, but quote themselves from Rule Britannia, not like that, Rule Britannia, Britannia Unchained. They are massively in favour of low taxes, no regulation. Singapore on the Thames, as they said, comes to mind. And someone said, I was in a meeting recently, someone much older than me essentially came out and said this: the people who are in charge at the moment are the exact same people, exact same type of Conservatives who were there post Second World War. They were opposed to the NHS, they were opposed to any social movement and mobility change, and that's why Winston Churchill lost that election. Much to Stalin and even Roosevelt's surprise. So we're in a very, like I say, we've got really worrying times ahead in the UK, and none of it's going to be good, because, as I said, we're in a recession. Lots of other countries have also taken a hit, but they're not in a recession, funnily enough. And we have to ask, why are we the ones that are standing out in this recession? And that's because of Brexit. And lots of economic analysts have said the same thing. The UK probably within the next decade ain't going to be the 6th largest economy anymore. And the likelihood of staying in the top 10 has also been said. It ain't on here. And for the people who voted Brexit to make their lives better, are in for an awful shock. They're in for an absolute awful wake-up call very soon. But with that said, we are coming to the end of my walk now, so Tell you what, any questions? I will take your questions. I was there's nowhere to sit. Yeah. Bye bye to the G7. Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, but bye bye to our seat on the Security Council as well. Oh, greeting from Naples. Thanks for giving us a laugh this morning. No problem. How soon do you expect a second lockdown? I'd say within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think depending on these spikes that we see, I think that's how we do it. It's not going to be long. I'll tell you that now. How could we lose the Supreme Court seat? Easy. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has died this morning. If you haven't heard the news of that, Trump has two options. He will either A, force through a nomination. He can do that. The Republicans are not going to pass up this opportunity to gain a majority in the Supreme Court. And they will back him to the hilt on that, regardless whether they like him or whether they don't. They will not lose. They do not want to lose that opportunity, which also means that if they do decide to wait till after the election, that also changes and frames the US election in completely new and different lights. And that's going to make this election and Biden winning even more important, because you need to get and ensure that there is a progressive majority on the Supreme Court. Otherwise, things like abortion rights and any other almost progressive cause will be brought to there by the Republicans and just stripped out of law and called unconstitutional. That is what will happen. That is what the Republicans want. And you must absolutely, if you're an American, get out there, vote Democrat. Don't care where you are. Don't care if you're burning or bust. This changes everything. Go out there, vote Biden. Do people not from the north always mix up Barnsley and Burnley? I don't know. I've never heard that before, but possibly. What do you expect to be the EU response to the Internal Market Bill if it passes? They will probably put sanctions on us. Easy as that. And there will be massive international support for that, because we have broken international law. We will be a rogue nation at that point. Not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately. The UK, I don't know about that. I did hear about that. That was the offer. It's like this bizarre take it or leave it deal. I don't know if that was even taken seriousness. I genuinely don't know, but we'll have to see. If both our nations fail as badly as it appears, we'll both become crap hole nations that the world would be better off without. Yeah, probably. Take it, leave it, it's Farage speak. Yeah, if he was put forward by Farage, then it's not going to be taken seriously. Yeah, they will take us to the international court and they will win. It's simple as that. It's a closed case. There's no if and or buts about it there. Am I expecting more people to come to YouTube? Probably. Wouldn't be surprising. There is apparently a Byline Times, if you know about them. They're expecting starting up their own TV news station, which will be quite interesting. But we'll have to see about that. Morning. So with that, thank you very much for joining us today. It has been a good walk today. Obviously, today is International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So with that, thanks for joining me today, and we wish you the best of luck. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Do hit that thumbs up button as well. And do remember there are links down below to my Patreon and a one-off donation link. Avast ye me hearties, yo-ho, and have a wonderful weekend. Oh, that's that's done my voice in today. But yes, thanks for joining us. Please do hit that subscribe button if you are new. Hit the like button as well. Support the channel as well as much as possible. If you want to support me with a bit of money, you can do so down below. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you for everyone who does currently support me on those platforms. It is very much appreciated. To everyone else, thank you very much for just watching. It's been absolutely wonderful. And of course, as always, if you can't be safe, be sensible and enjoy your weekend, folks. I will very much be enjoying mine. And as always, we'll see you next weekend, as always, for another Good Morning Walk.